and welcome to Average Jam. In this episode, we'll actually talk a little bit about why is it that we're feeling stuck in our lives? Why is it so difficult to move past our indecisiveness and making decisions that perhaps come from a different point from fear? We'll also look into what is a portal, and to help us understand all these things, we'll be welcoming Mr. Rob Konig later on to help us figure out ways in which we can become unstuck. We'll also touch briefly on Reconnective Center, the Reconnective Center in Prague, and we will feel the frequencies with Eric and Jillian in this Average Jam coming on right now. Well, that was quick. Welcome back. I am Anna Clavel, and if this is the first time you've joined us at an Irish Jam, we are all about giving you weekly live updates on everything Reconnective Healing, and also talking about topics that we know are important to you. Because ultimately our goal is that we help you find answers that you can then use so you can bring the changes that you need in your life. I know that for myself, in my own life, Reconnective Healing has been instrumental in allowing me to see all my possibilities and continue to find, explore, and discover my full and true potential. If this is the first time you heard about Reconnective Healing, well, Reconnective Healing is an energy-based approach to healing and transformation, and it requires no techniques or steps to learn. It has been scientifically validated, and it requires no touching either. Let me move my hands here so you don't look too big over there. Okay, that's better. So another really important thing is that we know how important it is to you that you get yourself heard. And we have been very grateful this last week for your comments and suggestions and questions as they came in. And we'll probably be exploring some of these later on in our little episode today. But for now, I'd like to remind you that the best way to grab us and catch us live is to subscribe to the channel. Like us, subscribe, and then you'll always know when we are live and here with you. All right, so let's move on to our topic. Why are we feeling stuck? Well, first of all, I'd like to get your attention to this beautiful graphic that was provided by the Reconnection team, by the social media and design team. And if, guys, this is a team that spends all hours of the day researching and getting creative and getting inspired, and they come up with some of the most beautiful juxtaposition of images and copy that are both inspirational, but also the great tools for learning. And I really love what they did here. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And I think, we can see here that there is a world, a beautiful world around us. And as we hold in our hands, we're holding perhaps a reflection of that world. And in that reflection of the world, we are not seeing the whole around us. And that sometimes is what might be described as feeling stuck. We may have the opportunity right in front of us, but for whatever reason, we're not able to see it. Now, this morning, sorry about that. Our head of development and insights, Jillian Fleer, shared with the team a really, truly interesting article about the illusion of consciousness, which we're not going to discuss now. We'll talk about it in another episode because it's such a great theme. But suffice to say that it brings into the forefront our perception of our life. And I want to give you an example that they used there. I'm going to expand it into our conversation real quick. Imagine that your entire concept of apples is red. That the only apple you've only ever tasted, looked at, smelled, is red. So your relationship with the apples is very specific. You love this apple. It's the apple that your parents love as well, let's say. Or it's the apple that reminds you of a beautiful moment and therefore you associate it with love. So that red apple is, to you, the only apple there is. Now, imagine that the supermarket in the corner where you get your apples introduces then a green apple. Now, you've never had a green apple before. This is a different type of apple. Maybe that first time you decide, well, that's interesting. I'm going to make a choice perhaps based on because I'm feeling adventurous, perhaps because it's a better priced item, or simply because, somebody said, have you tried the green apples in the corner store? They're absolutely amazing. So you buy the green apple. And guess what? Your experience of that green apple is so different from what you've heard that you immediately create a very vivid impression of the experience for yourself. You don't like it. You don't expect that it's going to be so tart. It goes completely against your concept of what an apple should be. And say this is your real true experience of green, and say that this is also the same day in which something not very happy happens. Say that your boyfriend breaks up with you, or you have a bad tummy, or something that causes you to make an association with that green apple and your experience of that day. You don't think much about it, you just make a conscious decision, I am never going to have another green apple. But say that beneath it all, you're also, for some reason, made a connection, a strange and interesting connection with the color green. Say that unconsciously, anytime you see that same apple green, you automatically walk away from it. You reject it. You are not comfortable around it. Say that without you even paying attention, the narrative gets a little bit more layered, and you start thinking that the green color is something that is not beneficial in any way and needs to be suspected, cannot be trusted. So the next person that you meet that is wearing this apple green without you knowing it, you may reject them right offhand. And then here's where we get perhaps stuck in this way of thinking. We all have these little narratives inside happening at any given time. Suddenly the world around you, for whatever reason, starts getting populated with a lot of this green. A lot of this green. And a lot of these options start to look just like this green that you really have created this deep aversion to. How can you make a choice in a situation like that, in which suddenly you turn around and it seems like all the doors are closed, that all the options that you have are exactly the things that you would never want to do, and sometimes you cannot even explain to yourself exactly why. There is a certain fear that comes from making this type of choice. There's a point in which we feel like, I don't know, I'm going to age myself here, date myself. I don't know if you remember playing pinball machines. Maybe they're still around somewhere. There was a great moment in which the ball, when you pulled the spring, would get stuck, and the machine would say tilt, 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 tilt. I'm sure you've seen this in cartoons anyway. So you get at a point in which you cannot make a decision, and any decision that you feel that you could make is continuously being overridden by all these old fears, concepts, and layered understanding of what the perception of an original experience, which may have been this green apple, and how it has evolved inside you without you even perhaps being completely participant in it. We all do this. We all get to these points that we feel stuck. We feel we can't make choices. We cannot walk through doors. And even when the door opens, we often reject it, we resist it. And it's our previous experiences that are not allowing us to go through them. And sometimes we fall into this sense that somebody or something is going to come and rescue us from this. It's going to move us away from this. And just as their wonderful blog, which I'll put the link below so you can read it, Opening the Portal and Step Through the Door of Transformation, here's where you perhaps will want to know that nobody is coming to fix you. Nobody can fix you. Nobody can fix me but from within, from the person that I am. It's not an external force that's going to take care of our lives. There are things that will happen that will put us on that path. and will open our eyes to the multiple decisions that can be made by just seeing that green. Perhaps it's not the green we thought we were, but how do we get out of that? And how does reconnective healing comes into all this? Well, we're going to have Rob Konig join us later on in actually a few more minutes, and he will be helping us then understand which are the ways that we can stage our own, so to speak, rescue. Now, I will be looking into our chat throughout, and I want to show you right here that we have a little bit of comments already going on. Hello, everybody. Hello, Lexi. Hello, Alejandro. Welcome all. Do leave your comments, suggestions, and questions because we will be looking into our chat very often. I'd like to share with you real quick something about our trips recently from our team from around the world. Here we go. Our amazing Eric, Pearl and Jillian Fleer are currently in Prague, in the Czech Republic, and they are just getting ready for one of our biggest programs this year. And they wanted to share with us this beautiful set of images from the presentation they did at the Reconnective Center in the heart of the city. Now, this is an institution that is solely dedicated to reconnective healing and the personal reconnection and the philosophy of reconnective healing. And the wonderful place is being originated by Vladimir Eckhart, who hopefully you'll be able to see this Friday in an Instagram feed. Please follow us as he will be doing a Feel the Frequencies meditation for all of us. I also want to share with you this amazing video of Eric and Jillian guiding the students through feeling the frequencies.
I know some of you have your eyes closed. Just because you can't see us does not mean we can't see you.
So allow that paintbrush to explore the heavens. Just like you were moving both hands, allow just the right hand to interact with the fingers.
And when you do move your hands to enhance distance and feeling, don't just take your hand from one position to another. Bring the feeling with you as you're moving your hand. Or shorten the bungee cord. And pull that rubber band, pull that bungee cord so you can actually feel it stretching and pulling at the skin in your palms.
Beautiful.
Now look into the fingers of your still hand. For me, that's my left hand.
That is something. And that is part of what Dr. Eric Pearl and Jillian Fleer do as they travel the world, teaching the philosophy of reconnective healing through presentations, workshops, and the many programs that they actually teach themselves. They also have time to enjoy not only our hosts, but the cities that host us. And here's a great picture of Jillian with Vladimir Eckhart, which I just mentioned is the person who originated and ideated that beautiful Reconnective Center in Prague. I want to share with you real quick, one of the places they went to Prague was the Museum of the Senses. Truly, it's all about being playful. And here you have it. You can be all of this and still be absolutely serious about what you do in life. We sometimes get too serious about who we are and what we're doing, and we forget that at the end of the day, it's playtime. What makes us creative, brings a much bigger level of joyfulness into our lives. It just reminds us that we are, after all, humans. And our first instinct is, after all, compassion. I am so excited now because we are going to be ready momentarily to introduce you to Rob Konig right after this quick break. And that was a super short break, of course. What are portals? We're talking about portals in many ways in Reconnective Healing. One of the main things that I like to just put in your sphere of understanding is that mostly when we talk about a portal, we're talking about a doorway to transformation, a possibility for effecting a change in which you are the one who's allowing this change to take place in your life, in you, in your environment around you. What I love about this image that the team also created for me is that I'm going to make it big real quick here. See if I can enlarge it. Oh, wrong one. Sorry, guys. I can only enlarge that one. So we'll have to use the little one instead, right? We have a beautiful doorway with a person standing in the middle and the mirror reflecting back. That mirror reflecting back is actually showing everything else that's behind the door. The one thing that's stopping you from moving through is yourself. To help us understand why are we so fearful of change and transformation, I'd like to introduce to you Rob Konig. Not only is he going to talk a little bit more about his role in the reconnection and as a Reconnective Healing professional practitioner and also a key member of our teaching team, he's also a psychologist who specializes in the learning environment. So without further ado, I'd like you to introduce to you our wonderful Rob Konig.
Hey.
Hey Rob, welcome to the RH Jam.
Thank you so much. I love this platform. What a great way to kind of reach out and communicate with our community.
Oh, I'm having a great time. Everybody knows that if you give me a live mic, I'm off to the races.
And what a perfect host we have in you, Anna. So I'm thrilled to be with you. So thank you for including me in this discussion.
Thank you for joining us, Rob. As I briefly discussed with you earlier, one of the things that we often get so stuck in is about making that choice. Should we do this? Should we do that? Is that the right opportunity for me? I know that in your experience of many, many years, professionally as a psychologist, but also in Reconnective Healing, you have come across many examples of what this looks like, and maybe you can start sharing with us some of the things you may have shared with your own clients or the people who needed your help.
Absolutely. This is such a great topic. You know why? Because it actually applies to so many of us. I mean, I think everyone can relate to that experience of feeling stuck, feeling like you can't move forward, almost like you're immobilized. And I want to put a different spin on this topic, that one that maybe your audience hasn't considered. We often think of the concept of being stuck as a real negative, like, oh, I don't want to be stuck anymore. But I'm going to invite you to consider that feeling like you're stuck is actually an indication of growth. Because, and I use this example, and we did a course for 10 weeks this summer that we called Living in the Frequencies, and at one point in the course we talked about this great analogy of the lobster, and the idea that a lobster, before it sheds its shell, that it actually knows that it's time to shed the shell because of the discomfort that it feels, because it's starting to outgrow its external boundary. And so I'm going to really consider you to ponder this concept that if you are feeling stuck, there's a really good chance that you are at a point in your evolution that you are feeling the constriction of this inner expansion that is about to unfold. And that feeling of stuck is just an indicator that you are ready to grow and expand in that moment. And so I would invite you to consider that this is a great indicator that you are about to experience growth in your life. And I can tell you, just personally for me, my introduction to Reconnective Healing, by the way, happened at one of those junctures where I felt absolutely that I was stuck, and I was kind of kind of on the hamster wheel, like, kind of going through the motions. And I want to say also that one of the reasons why we feel stuck very often, or what's associated with that experience, is usually that we have been kind of walking a very well-trodden path of routine and familiarity. And there is that feeling of, I've done this before and I'm not moving in a different direction. So it's really about recognizing in those moments that this is an opportunity. This is a feedback system that you have. Your soul, your spirit is letting you know that it is time to step out beyond that which you have experienced before.
I just love what you just shared here. I mean, the image of the lobster, and you are growing the boundaries, and they become constraints. So
yes.
Would it be fair then to say that when we're looking at portals and doors and choices, perhaps it's a matter of reframing how we look at them and consider them not the actual decision of making a choice, but looking at them as opportunities?
That's it. You nailed it. Because for me, when I think of the concept of a portal, I really recognize that portals, to me, if I had to define them, I would say they are entry points for transformation. If I had to boil it down to the simplicity of the concept, it's an entry point of transformation. It's an invitation for transformation. And I have found that these portals tend to show up in our lives when we are ready to experience transformation. Make no mistake about it, when there is an opportunity that's presented in your life where a portal opens up, we can examine this even further if you want, but when that opportunity opens up, it is absolutely that indicator for you that you are being invited to experience transformation, and you are being invited to step off of the path that you have been going down out of routine, out of comfort, and I'm going to say out of safety, because many of us, when we feel stuck and we're not moving forward, it's often because on some level we have associated this kind of traveled path as being safe and being in a place where perhaps we can shield ourselves from being vulnerable. And all I can tell you is that anyone who's ever experienced incredible shifts and transformation in their life, it always happened when they step outside of the familiar, when they step outside of the known, and really, and allow themselves to explore the unknown in their life. And so it's really, I really want this topic to shift from this kind of this negative, I'm stuck, to realizing, like we said, it's opportunity. It's a growth awaiting, just around the corner.
That's powerful. That's super powerful. There's a great line in the blog that Corey Redstone wrote for us that says, she became a bystander in her own life. And it has to do with that safety that you speak of. I think we get so comfortable in the unknown, and what we think is like a level of everything that perhaps we can control, then when it's nudging either direction and the uncomfortable aspect, it starts like constraint of the lobster shell. I think that's the moment in which the reframing of going into the negative of feeling stuck and what that means, if we think of it, this is the opportunity. This is the choice for growth will really impact how our day-to-day happens, because this is like a daily thing. Don't we end up basing a lot of our decisions in this comfort zone and being like in this safety zone?
And beyond that, I would just add that it's also our inability, or our perceived inability, to step forward. It's often rooted in our fear. It's our fear of vulnerability. And boy, and you mentioned that I'm a psychologist, and I can tell you, in the 20 plus years that I've worked in this field, the one thing that we are seeing more and more of, and it's really so sad in a way, especially when it comes to children, we're seeing more and more younger and younger ages where anxiety is just, crippling, mankind. And if I could be so bold, I mean, so many of us are walking around with such anxiety, this fear-based consciousness of vulnerability. And And I'm going to tell you, just to bring Reconnective Healing into this discussion, that was the biggest gift that I received personally from my exploration and discovery of Reconnective Healing. It really reframed my perception of who I am and how I fit into the larger system of humanity, and recognizing that the perception of being separate and isolated and disconnected from everyone else around us, these are the types of perceptions that really breed that fear and breed that vulnerability. And when you have the opportunity to really experience firsthand what it's like to come into this more expanded recognition of who we are, there's no space for that fear anymore, because it's just this joyous recognition of our eternal essence and our truth. And therein lies a beautiful portal to step through to recognize what's possible. And so it's stepping out of fear. And I think Reconnective Healing as a philosophy of a way of life, I think it really helps remind us that our experience in our interaction with these frequencies that are here to kind of guide us and inform us, that we really step into this wonderful opportunity to recognize our truth.
I cannot be more in agreement with you. That was my experience of Reconnected Healing as well. Now, for those who are joining us who may not know about Reconnective Healing, and basically that it can be learned by anyone and everyone, could you share a little bit about perhaps where are you teaching it next? Where is the next event? How does it happen?
Well, see, this is what's so awesome about where we are with our teaching protocol right now. If anybody is interested in experiencing this transformation in their life and learning how to bring this into their personal experience and how it can unfold in their lives, now that we're offering the online course as the introduction to their the training process, you can access it right away. And lo and behold, the name of our online course, we also lovingly call it the portal, right? So, and that's no accident. Listen, when you first step into your experience of Reconnective Healing and this training process, it is in fact a portal. It is your introduction to this expanded awareness. And so this online training, protocol, it's these wonderful hours of interaction with Eric Pearl and Jillian Fleer, and you get to dive into the philosophy, the science surrounding Reconnective Healing, and some practical exercises on how to access this new vantage point. And so that is something that anyone listening to this that is really curious about bringing this into their life, it is literally a moment away to begin this your journey into Reconnective Healing. Now, once you've done that, and once you've completed your online training, then you have the opportunity to step into the next level of your experience, which is our live immersion training programs. And these are our weekend trainings that we're holding all around the world. As far as the U.S., where I'm based out of, we have Palm Springs coming up in the beginning of December, the first week in December, and we are so excited to be back in Palm Springs. We were there in April of this year, actually, April 2019, and we're back in December, and it's a weekend of sheer joy. It's a weekend of discovery, and really stepping into a sense of community with like-minded individuals who are also on this incredible journey of discovery. And it's a way to really open yourself up to the fullest understanding of what we are capable of, and our true definition of our new reality. And so I encourage everyone who is feeling drawn towards exploring this in their life, jump on board and just see what awaits you in this process. It's really quite magnificent. And
Rob, you're going to be there in Palm Springs, correct?
Yeah, I'm not missing that. Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm going to be facilitating our Catalyst program, and that's another name we give for this live immersion experience. We go from stepping through the portal in our online experience to learning how to really become the catalyst for change and transformation as we fully access the field of frequency and vibration and energy, And then this energy lightened information field is so accessible. And when we really bring it into our lives, we really become the catalyst for change and transformation for ourselves and others. And so, yeah, so I'm going to be teaching the Catalyst program, and I'm, along with Eric and Jillian and our teaching team, and just can't wait to be there.
Well, so everybody knows we have a couple more minutes left, but there's a link I'll put down here in the description for today, Rob, with a link to your page, so there's more information about where they can see you next as well. Do you have any last parting shares or thoughts to with our audience?
You know what? I just want to share that, Anna, I want to thank you for this opportunity. And you, my dear, are creating a portal in offering these jams, because like I said, a portal is an invitation for transformation. And by spreading the word and getting this information out through this platform, I think we're really providing just yet another opportunity for someone to find themselves in this moment, watching this information, taking in this information, and that kind of that sensation, or that something that's rising up within you that drew you to tune in today, pay attention to that, because everything is, our life is happening for us, and those things that show up in our feed, in our email, in our daily lives, those are all just reminders and indicators, and I would say almost like light up signs, that are just kind of, encouraging us to take a step forward and consider what it might be to be unstuck.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, I do know the trajectory from A to right now this program live, and it's really because of Reconnective Healing. Yes. Rob, thank you so much. I hope you'll grace us with another visit down the line for another live interview.
Anytime.
Counting on you, my friend.
You got it.
All right, thank you. And I'd like to share with you a few of our conclusions today. Let me get to this side. We've discussed a few things here. So we need to recognize that we have a resistance to change. That's maybe one of the first things we may want to observe when we know we need to step through the door to transformation, through a portal. We also may want to say that make our choices not from fear, but from love. There is a place in us, in each of us, that knows that we can reframe how we feel about a situation. If we can step past the fear, the anxiety that Rob was telling us about when we find ourselves in that spot, but we already know that it is not a real item. It may be something that is perceived. It's important to then remember this. So then we are guided into the decision making through our love and not through fear and anxiety of what change might be like. And that's another thing. Let's maybe let go of the expectation of what that change needs to look like. Because that sometimes stops us from making a decision. What if this happens? What if the other thing happens? Take a bite of the apple. Take a bite of the apple. And then make a choice based on that, and then make another choice based on that, and it's a choice after a choice. Perhaps at the end of the day, there is really no right or wrong choice, just choices. And last but not least, portals. They are opportunities. And guess what? They're always available for you. Always available for us. It's us who cannot see them, resist seeing them, are unable to make a decision about how to see them and where to see them. And I want to leave you with those words. Thank you again on the topic, and just want to share with you a couple of quick things that are equally important. Just a second. So as I said, it's really important that we share your comments, and I'm reading here through our wonderful chat. We have great messages coming through, and I love to hear your input, your suggestions. We have so many topics that we would love to cover over the course of this program, and we are counting on you to let us know what are the things, what are the themes that are impacting you in your life that you'd like to know a little bit more, and perhaps just chat with us and discuss it with us. Again, thank you to Michelle, thank you to Lexi, and thank you to Cecilia Sams, who's helping us here in the team take care of our chat board. Now, I am so sorry to let you know that we've come to an end today. And I want to remind you that you are all welcome to receive your free audio narration of Dr. Eric Pearl's The Reconnection, Heal Others, Heal Yourself. Our wonderful Director of Technology, Martin Haley Jr., created a very specific link for us, just for us. I've got it on the screen, but just like I said before, we have a bank, let me move my finger this way, a bank of a lot of links in our description. Go ahead and use those, and you can you can read our blog, you can read more about me, about Rob, and you can find out a little bit more about the Portal online course and our Catalyst programs around the world. Thank you again to Rob Konig, and thank you to the Reconnection team. And please remember, if you want to know what we're up to, follow us on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter. And until then, see you next Thursday at 11:30 a.m. This has been the RH Jam.